lawyer and you're not involved in the civil rights struggle, you're a parasite on society, that's a strong statement. That's a strong statement. You don't think about that as being, you know, Supreme Court, but that is the Justice Marshall. So with today, with this program, what we want to capture is that kind of a spirit. And so let's break down some barriers today. How about doing that? And how about setting a great example for all those young people who may be sitting back there and they want to see that we can all break down these barriers. And so with that, I'm very proud to serve as the new director of the Thurgood Marshall Social Justice Advocacy Project and as the new general counsel, and the best is yet to come.
The branch of Detroit is not only known as the biggest and the baddest, the oldest and the boldest, the most revered for no particular reason, but it has a lot to do with this next individual. Reverend Anthony is serving in his 10th term as president. That's 20 years of dedicated service and commitment. Let's give our president a round of applause.
Thanks, ladies and gentlemen. We're certainly pleased to have all of you here. Let me say good afternoon to everybody that is here. And this is a tremendous gathering on a Saturday afternoon at the end of April when folk could be out doing a whole lot of other things. But because you recognize the significance of what this is and what this is about, you are here. And so we thank you and we applaud you. We're glad to have you here. We're here because we want to discuss these issues of hate and what it does to a community and how we can improve the community by working together. And so we've invited representatives from the Muslim community, from the Hispanic Latino community, from the African American community, from the Jewish community, from the Native American community, from the gay community, from all communities that we believe have been negatively impacted. We're sorry that those brothers and sisters that we invited from our Jewish community are not here today. They made a different decision, but we believe that one of the things that we should be able to do is to come together and to discuss these issues so that we can make some different decisions about how we engage each other. And so I'm pleased that the Detroit branch NAACP, on the eve of the Fight for Freedom Fund dinner, the 56th annual Fight for Freedom Fund dinner, the largest dinner of its kind in the world, the largest branch in the world, the largest youth council in the world, the biggest, baddest, boldest branch in the world is having this right here on the river in Detroit. And this place is filling up. As I'm talking, it's still filling up. And I have to pause and introduce one of our living icons.
You're here.
Living icons. It's not always you get a chance to touch history, to touch somebody that had she and others not did what they did, we would not be sitting here today. How many of you have heard of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.? Raise your hand. Amen. How many of you know that Dr. King had to give speeches? How many of you know that Dr. King had to have meetings? How many of you know that Dr. King had to make phone calls and use the phone? How many of you know that he had to have an office somewhere? How many of you know that he had to have somebody to remind him, to schedule him, to get his phone calls, to tell him where he needed to be, when he needed to be there, to make sure he got what, to get him a sandwich every now and then, to talk to him when nobody else was around, to hold his head up when you all knocked it down, to let him know that there's something in you that you cannot let go. God put you here for a particular reason. Well, we have that someone with us today. She is the founder of the Trumpet Awards, which are seen in 185 countries, seen all over the world, where she honors people who give service every year. You've seen it on TV. It was just on TV last Sunday. She is the founder and president and CEO of that. But before she became that, she was the personal secretary to the King, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. She's none other than Zenona Clayton. Stand up, Miss Clayton. Give her a big hand. The personal secretary to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Right there. And so, Miss Clayton, we thank you for making sure he got to be where he needed to be on time. Amen? Amen. Thank you very much. She's going to be honored tomorrow with our James Weldon Johnson Lifetime Achievement Award at our dinner. So make sure you get your tickets. It's the hottest ticket in town. I'm going to move now to begin our forum. We're very pleased to have this gentleman from down the street, so to speak. He is a professor, well-educated. He's done research. He's done many presentations all across the country. We've seen him recently at the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History making this presentation, Us versus Them, using the symbols of the racist memorabilia of the past to try to bring it all together to see how this negatively impacts various communities. He has lived this, he breathes this. He's here in Detroit. He had not planned to be here, but I put on my ministerial persuasive voice and asked him to really come here. He came here. He had surgery recently. That's why you see just one limb that is moving, but God wanted him to come and use not that limb, but his mouth and his intellect, and he's doing it. Please welcome. He's going to begin our presentation with his presentation, and then I'm going to turn it over to one of the region's finest, Devin Skillian, who's going to serve as our moderator with the panel. But join me in giving a Detroit, Michigan welcome to Dr. David Pilgrim, professor of Ferris State University, who's going to begin our presentation with them. Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be good, and we're just excited about having you all here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. You said it was all right if I move around, right? Okay. Couple quick things. I'm a little bit injured today. These bodies come with about a 40-year warranty, and I'm in the extended warranty now. But there's nothing wrong with my mouth, and there's nothing wrong with my heart, so I can still do what I do. I want to start with a little story. They told me I only had 2.5 hours, so I want to get... All right, when I joke, I'll do this right here. You can walk in a store, a restaurant, ball game or whatever, no one stares at you. Unless you're in Vermont or something. But I mean, generally speaking, no one stares at you. You don't look different. But imagine if you had tumors hanging from your face, or if you had a third arm, or if you had a birth defect that was so noticeable that you couldn't hide it. People who have these type of birth defects have lives unlike anybody in this room. When I was a student at the Ohio State University, don't start me with the Michigan stuff. See, he asked me about the coach. We were talking about hate, and he hating on the red vest, okay? When I was at the Ohio State University, my master's thesis was to try to find out what was the quality of life for people with these types of birth defects. And so I did what a lot of people talk about doing. I went away and joined the circus, actually a carnival, and traveled. And my job was to sell tickets to the sideshow. I don't use the word freak. It is the real F word. And it is similar in its hatred and venom to the N word. But those are the people I'm talking about in the so-called freak show. So I was there getting my PhD. People thought I was just a